Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment in our tips and tricks series for Golf Blitz. Today, we will be having a look at one of the courses that actually inspired me to do this series, just because it's one of the earlier courses that gets a little more technical and requires some precise shots. And that is the City Park Tour 11. This one's a lot of fun, and it takes some very interesting shapes that are inspired around, well, a city park, and you need to be able to navigate them in a decent manner in order to succeed. And that's what we're going to highlight for you in today's video. So as we get started, be sure to check and see if you are subscribed to the channel. If you're not, please fix that for me real quick, as that subscription is free and easy, and there is daily variety content coming your way to help you out with tours just like this, as well as many other fun and entertaining games. So without further ado, let's have a closer look at City Park. Alright, so starting off, this hole actually is pretty interesting. Now, the intended method of getting down is by using this little segment that's in the bridge right here, but there are a couple of additional methods that you can use to make your way down to the bottom. I haven't tried this one until right now, but the Super Ball may actually get you down to the green. As you can see right there, it actually does. So if you take a shot over this way, you can get enough power, provided that you hit high enough up on the wall. You can actually get enough power to the point where you can bounce off right down onto that bottom green, right like so. And really, that's one of the better methods of getting down there I've seen, especially if you have a lot of that early game elixir. If not, you're going to want to try and use the gooey ball to stick either off here to the side, or try and get down onto this lower portion from this upper ledge. There's a lot of viable options that one can go with, and then you're really just stuck with jostling for position, getting your way down to the bottom portion of this course. So a couple of different methods that one can entertain there, depending on what power-ups you have available and what your elixir reserves are looking like at the time. This is another hole that can be pretty fun, and again, things are fairly straightforward. Ideally, you'll want to take a shot that can land you in this crevice, and preferably if you can roll off of this little section here to the point where you don't have to take a follow-up shot to get down to the bottom, kind of like what you saw us do right there at the base. That'll get you a lineup onto this block that has some of the gooey substance that you can stick to, and then chip right up onto the top. The quickest and easiest method is taking that path directly down. You can go up and over the other direction, but it's not really beneficial under almost every scenario that I've ever played this at. Now with this particular hole, ideally what you want to do is you want to take a bank shot that leaves you just rolling off the edge there, because if you can end up down here on this putting green off of your first shot, that's a very easy follow-up for you to do right like that. And it's not always possible, depending on the amount of accuracy or when you collide, or if you collide with other opponents that you're competing with on that particular hole, but that is about picture perfect of what you're looking for in order to succeed in this particular arrangement. So like we saw at the very beginning with the Super Ball, there is an easier way of making your way down to the base by banking all the way off of that wall. However, you can still get some really nice follow-ups if you have access to the gooey ball by hitting onto that wall. That's a really awesome mechanic that I don't know if it's fully intentional, but the fact that it works that way really allows you to work your way around these courses, and doing so in a fairly succinct and sustainable manner as well. So another hole that can be pretty fun is this one, and ideally here, again, you're looking for something that can get you to roll down into the base of this next section pretty easily. But as you saw there, I came in a little bit too hot with that Super Ball, which is okay because there are other ways for you to kind of make up from that. If you are looking to make your way over that way, one of the better things that you can do is kind of hit off of the bottom plate instead of off of the bridge. That'll make sure that you are in a position where you're going to be doing okay coming down into the base. From here, you're going to want to bank off of this lower lip as opposed to going into the water hazard there. Make your way back down here towards the bottom, and from here, it's a fairly straight shot over onto the green. Depending on whether or not you have some accuracy items, you can get right up there next to it, or the heavy ball that you have access to at some of the higher levels can work quite well in finishing off that hole also. But really, you're just trying to make your way through that serpentine section as quickly as possible, unless you have the burrow ball, which is available at the top levels of play. Now here again, we see a couple of options for what we can do. The Super Ball doesn't work really well there. As you can see, it may be able to bounce off of that wall at a higher angle in order to come down. We're going to go ahead and try again with the alt account. And yeah, it just lands you into that water hazard. So maybe there's a scenario under which that would work okay for you, but really you're just trying to make your way down into the base here. Down here at the bottom, on the other hand, you can do that a little more easily because you don't have as far of a distance to bounce back from across that wall. If you don't end up doing that, you're going to want to head closer to that lip so you can get that higher angled shot up and over the top of that ridge in order to make your way down onto the green to finish out that hole. So another option that you can use on this hole is, as opposed to using the Super Ball, you can actually use the laser to end up on this ledge and then take a nice little chip shot down. Now that's really only going to be of any benefits to you if you have the extra elixir on hand to use at the start of the game, because otherwise it's just going to be easier for you to take those closer chip shots to get towards the end of this large sand trap and then take the higher bank shot down. But it is indeed an option for you if you have the resources for it. Here's another one that can be kind of fun and difficult all at the same time. So for starters, you're going to want to make your way up and over this little hill. And if you can find a way to slip into this little crevice that leads you down on that first shot, the better off you're going to be. Now from here, there's a couple of different ways that you can go. Most people intend to go down this hole. I've seen some others that kind of power their way off the back end, but the safer bet tends to be going through this smaller pipe, supposing that you're not jostling for position too much with some of your opponents there. And then you've just got to continue snaking your way down the course to the rather small green down towards the bottom there in order to finish out that hole. This one is another one that can be pretty interesting. Now, if you have access to a ball that's going to power up how far you can move, I recommend using it. For example, here we have the laser ball. That's going to take us all the way to the other end of this course, and then we've got to make a pretty delicate little chip shot here into the very narrow opening in that bridge. And you saw just there that we were able to do so by undercutting that shot and allowing the momentum of the ball to tip us up onto that little roller there. Now, the laser ball isn't the best option for getting over here to the side. It was just the best out of the options that we had made available to us. The Super Ball tends to work a lot better for that, or most balls that have power stats that you can upgrade to shoot further than you would otherwise normally be able to. And then this hole can be pretty fun as well. And what I found tends to work best is if you can kind of slow your momentum off the top end of that little first bridge there. You can kind of make your way down onto that second platform, and occasionally even the third one, especially if you have opponents that are rolling in behind you. And then from here, you've just got to make kind of a simple little chip-in shot up onto the green, or possibly even into the hole, depending on if you have the available power resources to bank off that back wall and roll back into the actual hole itself. A couple of different strategies that you can employ there, but I've found by far the best thing you can do is trying to roll as far down that course as you can as you snake off of those little ledges back down towards the end standard. This is perhaps one of those holes that is the most technical out of all of them. And you're going to want to adopt a similar strategy. You can use some of your increased accuracy to make it through some of that initial spotting there. But what I've found that tends to work best is, again, undercutting that lip a little bit and allowing your momentum to carry you up into it. Now from here, there's a couple of paths that you can take. Of course, the intended path is by hitting over here onto this little platform. But if you have something like the anti-gravity ball or even the laser ball that you can use to hit up into this area and then drop straight down onto the green, that is in reality going to end up being a lot better, or even the gooey ball works good for bypassing that retreating shot back over. You can also take a bank shot back off of the edge, and that tends to work well also. And then we've showcased a couple of different items with this hole, but another option that you can go for is using the gooey ball to get down here onto the wall and then take another drop shot right onto the green to finish things out very, very quickly. So I think that that's going to do it for today's installment of tips and tricks. I've played through the course a couple of different times to make sure that I didn't miss anything, and I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to. Do you feel like there's anything that I missed? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If there are corrections I need to make, I will be sure to address those at the start of another one of these videos. But until then, I hope that you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like if you did, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.